Turning points happen at all ages and stages of life. Sometimes, when we burn a bridge, we think the opportunities are gone forever. But sometimes we can rebuild and make it even stronger. Eddie Foulger shares a turning point and events in his life that made him start looking at life completely differently.
First dramatic turning point when I was young. That's interesting. I guess I'm going to have to say that a big turning point for me was actually a health problem that I had when I was about 19, 20 years old. I remember that I was working at a restaurant at the time because I had just gotten fired from World Gym because I didn't open the gym up. Okay, so when I was young, I was very much into bodybuilding. 18, 19, I always idolized the bodybuilders and I wanted to be like them. And then I competed at 19 years old and I competed again at 20. About 20 years old, after my show, I sort of, like a lot of young people do, I felt like I had accomplished so much. So I was, partying on the weekends and so on and so forth. Until one day I was supposed to open the gym on Saturday and I came in, I just didn't open the gym. Sorry, Wanda and Anthony. And so then they asked me if I could come in and just open the gym the next day. I said, we can't promise you anything with your job, but can you at least come in tomorrow and open the gym? I said, yes. What did I do? I did the same thing the next day, so just bad decision making,
There was something in your life at that time that you were doing that wasn't working.
Correct, yeah.
And what would that be?
It would definitely have to be a combination of young youth, bad choices, lack of responsibility, on top of abusing alcohol and drugs.
Something that lots of people in their 20s do, and teenagers.
Yeah, and I was definitely doing that pretty well at the time. And so when I lost that job, I remember I got a job at Fridays, which was like right up the street from the old World Gym. And I kind of liked that job too because it was like a party atmosphere and everybody was having fun. But I ended up getting a health problem. I got gallstones. So my stomach inflamed and I ended up in the hospital and I couldn't work. And so they had scheduled this surgery for me.
So gallstones, I always thought of that as something older people got gallstones.
No, you can get them at any age. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And so I was scheduled to get my gallstones taken out. Okay. I remember an acquaintance of mine had called me and asked me what I was up to, and I, explained to him how I didn't have any money and I wasn't doing anything. I couldn't work, and he had this bright idea. He was coming through town and he was gonna, show me how to sell drugs. And that right there, if I was to look at, a point in time in my life where I seriously made, the big decision to go off the other end, that would have to be it. He came by. Long story short, I started selling narcotics, and I think it was 6 months later I got raided and I started my 20s as a 20-year-old / in and out kind of convict kind of a guy.
Mm-hmm. But because of drugs?
Absolutely.
So it was using them, but selling them is what put you in jail?
Correct.
Basically, okay. Yeah. And so the turning point then, there had to be something changed because you're squeaky clean now, and you're the epitome of health. So that's a lot of things can happen in all of the years through that. But fast forward, something happened then that made it that it wasn't worth it anymore. How old were you when that turning point, and you've told it to me before, and that's why I'm remembering it, but it was quite dramatic. And instead of being a fighter, fighting back, this time you actually handled it differently.
Well, yeah, let me say, I guess so that all started when I was probably about 20, 21 years old, and I think I hung up my gloves at about 32.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't. After about 11 years of, life just becomes a blur. When you're in and out of prison, and when you're out, you're always on drugs, and your mind is never clear. And it started getting to the point where I couldn't even differentiate differences in time frames of my life. I would think back at, when was this that occurred? Was this 2 years ago, 5 years? I mean, I just couldn't figure it out for the life of me, Um, watching my parents get older through photographs and watching our address change as I'm away. This is a common thing for a lot of guys,
Okay.
Especially guys with drug problems and
Okay.
alcohol problems like I have, and so.
Life kind of stays at one place, but the world keeps changing.
Absolutely, yeah. You isolate yourself and take yourself away while the world keeps going on,
Right.
and that's just how it goes. Eventually, I guess I just decided that I needed to make, a real strong, hard left somewhere, or I was going to be right there for the rest of my life, and I knew that.
So early 30s, you started feeling you'd had enough.
Yeah, my early 30s, I started feeling that. Finally decided that I would do whatever it took to change my life. I sort of lost confidence in myself, in my own decision making to even save my own life or to make a positive decision. Every time you get those handcuffs slapped back on you, you lose that much more of yourself, and you give everything up again, and you go away again, and it's just really no way to live.